Memphis track boy. Let's go.
Welcome back into the 2025 Top Ups Countdown. We're picking it back up at number 33 here with William Gardner. William, we went through the whole specialist debate, the last Top Ups Countdown. We don't need to go through all that. If you want to go through that again, you can listen to our last countdown here. But I know you like Alejandro Mata. Even though you didn't have him ranked, I had him 24th. So he comes in 33rd on this year's list. Did you put any thought into possibly voting for Mr. Mata?
Well, I mean, we said before, there's so much talent on this team and so much depth that my particular view was, if you're looking at first and second team offensive, defensive guys, I just didn't have room for specialists. I would have put Mata in there if I was gonna, because I think he's pretty automatic, and I like the kid, and I think he's a good kicker. Everybody else doesn't even like him as a kicker because he can't kick it from the opposing end zone. But I think he's very reliable, and reliable counts for more than leg power to me, because lots of guys who can kick it a long ways and can't get it through the uprights. So I think Alejandro Mata is a very positive asset to this team.
Yeah, I think that it's more complicated with him because he is not just a specialist, but he's a specialist within being a specialist, right? It's going to be the I don't know. What do you think his range is? Probably, where do you think the cutoff is? Probably like 40 yards, and then anything beyond that's Buck Buchanan.
Yeah, I think it's 40. Territory. I mean, where did they remember? They used to or last year they had the guy standing there with the red flag on the sideline, so that Coach Prime could just easily see the distance. So yeah, I think 40 and in, he's probably your guy. I don't know, I think if it's right at 40, maybe you go with the other guy. I don't know.
Yeah, he made 22 of 27 field goal attempts for CU the previous two seasons, and he was 11 of 12 on his field goal attempts as a freshman under Coach Prime at Jackson State. Some of those misses have been blocks because he was early in his career struggling getting the ball up. He's gotten a little bit better at that as he's gone along in his college career.
Well, that I think he's doing fine with that, and part of that's got to be your interior protection as well. So I don't know. I think he's pretty automatic. I mean, for the kicks that need to be higher is extra points, and he's pretty automatic on those, so he should be pretty good.
Yeah, I think my favorite Alejandro Mata moment at CU so far is when he hit the game winner at Arizona State back in 2023, and Coach Prime was like, "Get back out there, do your dance."
Yeah, which I love. That moment is showing Coach Prime, really being about the players more than himself, which is sort of defeats the stupid narrative from a lot of these other teams' fans.
Got a chance to chat a lot with Alejandro out at Big 12 Media Days. He's just an introspective, really cool person. Like, he's somebody that's really fun to talk to.
Yeah, he's funny and he's got some personality, and I think he's going to be just fine in life, whether he's a kicker at the next level or not. But I think he's a good kid and a good teammate, and a good kind of guy you need on a team to bring that chemistry and what have you.
All right, I won't make you answer any more questions about a specialist. Let's move on to number 32 on our top ups list, and it's defensive lineman Tooffi Thomas. He was 28th on my list, 35th on your list. Big body, big personality. Kind of started to come into his own as a player last year, coming in from Louisville. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think he's one of those guys, he's over 300-pound defensive tackle. You think about like that first year under Coach Prime and the year before him and how sort of undersized and underpowered we were on the defensive line. And Tooffi Thomas easily would have been the best guy on either one of those two defensive lines. And you come in now and he's got to fight for his playing time. Although I still think we're going to be 9 guys deep, quite frankly, and can run 3 different lines in there and keep everybody pretty fresh. But Tooffi Thomas is a guy, who's been playing pretty well for a couple of years and keeps getting better each year. And he and Torian Carter and Tavian Coleman going to have to fight for some playing time in there. But Thomas, I think, is a guy that a lot of people look at and think he could be a starter. So he's got a lot of talent, a lot of ability, and going to bring a lot. It's going to be kind of shocking and surprising to teams, I think, late in the game when our third team is kicking their first team offensive line's backside, and all these guys are still fresh. So I think Tooffi Thomas brings a lot to the plate, and will really build up that defensive line spot.
Like I said, I thought he got better as last season went along, and he played in all 13 games, and it was really that Oklahoma State regular season finale that was his best performance. Only missed 2 tackles, credited with 6 pressures last season. Going to be asked to take on and eat up blockers as kind of his main job, I would assume, at Colorado this year. Kind of shown flashes. He's kind of, would you say he's kind of like just a tick below Amari McNeil in terms of those flashes? Like, he's not quite to that level, but
no, I'd say that's not giving Amari McNeil enough credit. I think Amari McNeil's a first team all-conference defensive tackle. He was unblockable the second half of the season. He had like 2 fourth down stops in the backfield and a couple of third down stops in the backfield. But I think Tooffi Thomas, 6'4", 300, is a big guy who can hold on to some blocks, and he's not quite the havoc maker I think that Amari McNeil is. I think I have Torian Carter ahead of him as well, but I still think he's a quality addition to our defensive line and another big 300 plus pound guy with a lot of power and strength.
Number 31 on our 2025 Top Buffs countdown is receiver transfer Sincere Brown. He was number 22nd on my list, not ranked on your list, William. I'm curious, he was a 4-star transfer from Campbell. Is this more about kind of the depth at that position, or your thoughts on Brown in terms of not having him ranked?
I think as I was going through, I had the what do you call it, the eligibility chart up there with each position, and so I was marking guys off as I put them in there. And I think when I'm getting down to those last, spots in the top 40, I'm looking back at receiver, and I think I already had 5 guys in there. I think I had Harge and Williams and Miller and Michael and Omari and Miller. And then I'm asking myself, do I have space for guys like Sincere Brown and Hakeem Williams, or would I rather have, a defensive tackle or a linebacker? And I think I already had 5 receivers on there, and I just didn't see Sincere Brown beating out those 5 guys to get enough playing time to make him a top 40 guy, frankly.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's tough. This was probably the toughest position to rank from a hierarchy standpoint, right? I think Draylon Miller was kind of like, I guess I shouldn't tease too much of the list, but that was like kind of the clear-cut one, and then you were going, okay, here are these other guys, and there wasn't a lot separating 2 from 6 on that receivers group.
Yeah, and then you're looking at, I think Omari and Miller is probably the number 1 guy, but that just goes to show, there's we've sort of forgot about Cameron Michael and Isaiah Hart, but then you're looking at get those last spots as you're getting down to your top 40. Who do I think is going to play more amongst Sincere Brown, Jack Hestera, Hakeem Williams, and Terrell Timmons? And do I think any of those 4 guys is going to play enough to get on this list? And quite frankly, if I was going to pick one of those 4, I'd probably pick Hestera.
All right. Well, I had Sincere Brown number 22 on my list. I think he's going to be one of their top 4 receivers this coming season. Just from an experience, I get it. It's at Campbell. It's not top level competition, but receiver is one of those positions. You get really good quality defensive backs at the FCS level. It's the trenches at that level that really take a huge drop off from Power 4 FBS. Sincere Brown, it's not like he was not dealing with talented defensive backs at that level. And he probably had, I guess I should do the research here, he didn't have like an NFL quarterback throwing him the football, right? So, I think that, there's some things some positions you kind of worry about them coming up from a lower level and not living up to their ability. But I think at receiver, he's going to be fine. We saw him in his vertical leap. He was jumping through the gym at CU earlier this summer, 6'5", 190, definitely lean. That's going to be the question mark is he going to get bullied a little bit?
That's what that's another thing I looked at is watching him in the workouts. And my God, the guy looks like he came out of a concentration camp and got starved.
That's a little bit harsh.
Did you look at his legs, man? I mean, I'm just saying he's tall, but he's just really skinny. And I don't know. If he lives up to his high end of his potential, then he could be something really special. But I don't know. I just have a hard time seeing it based on who he's playing against and what I see, in the weight room or what have you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're gonna see. He ranked 4th nationally in the FCS ranks in receiving yards last year. 5 100-yard games. Originally from South Carolina. Began his college career at USF and has been at Campbell the last couple of years. I think that this is somebody that's motivated to try to make the NFL. He's going to have to be spectacular at 190 to be able to get on draft boards. But I'm excited to see him. I think he's going to be on some level. You got both he and Josiah Williams. I think they're going to kind of split that Will Shepherd role of being able to high point balls and make some tough catches.
And to me, Joseph Williams just showed a hell of a lot more already.
He's going to be pretty good. He's got a lot of confidence too.
You talk about the NFL. I mean, if Will Shepherd can't get drafted and can't get into a camp, like you said, Sincere Brown going to have to do something almost unprecedented to make that happen.
Number 30 on our 2025 Top Buffs countdown is tight end transfer Zack Atkins. He was 36th on my list, 26th on Williams' list, a transfer from Northwest Missouri State, one of the top programs at that level. But jumping up to the Power 4 level, William, we heard that he was just a monster in the weight room. We didn't get a chance to see a ton of him during spring ball because he was dealing with an illness, but you're pretty excited about his ability. Talk about that.
Yeah, I think he does. I think he's a legitimate, sort of old school tight end. He can block for you. I think he'll probably play at 250-ish. He can run, he can catch. He had a couple catches in spring that were impressive. And I think that's as much about the quarterbacks starting to trust and find the tight ends as anything else. But I think he's a guy that really brings something, is going to help our run game a lot. And I think he'll help the other receivers by keeping the defenses honest. And so I think he'll have some big plays this season and is really going to make a difference for us. I still think Savell Smalls is better of the two tight ends. And I thought he had a lot better season than people thought last year. So I think that gives us two pretty good tight ends, frankly.
But it really is kind of on those two guys, right? I mean, outside of that, you don't have depth at that position that you can count on because you can like Corbin Lazier and his potential. You could like Zane D'Souza and his potential, but those guys are going to have a hard time playing Big 12 football this year.
Well, I think that, those two guys still got to beat. Quite frankly, Charlie Williams and Brady Coppets did more in spring. Well, that D'Souza wasn't there in spring, obviously. That's not totally fair. But the walk-ons at tight end actually had pretty good springs. And so I don't know if the freshmen can even get past them.
Yeah. If you have to, I guess you go jumbo in those short yard situations. Who do you think would be like your ideal? I'm putting you on the spot here. Who would be your ideal like jumbo tight end to throw out there right now?
Oh, good Lord. Well, theoretically, you want somebody who could actually catch the ball too. Now you got me. If I just wanted to put a fullback out there, I'd like to see Yaya. That role like Bishop Thomas in the first year.
Yeah.
Yaya would be a guy who would just maul dudes. From like a fullback spot to put a hand on the ground, like as an offensive lineman. I don't know. I think an athletic dude like Philip Houston would be great at that. Larry Johnson would be just a massive, massive dude to put out there. You could have a lot of fun with it, quite frankly. So I don't know. There's a lot of dudes that could fill that role if they want to go that. Carday Smith would be one with that kind of athleticism. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Lots of different options if they want to go that direction, I think.
That might be a good way to kind of cut Corday Smith's teeth at this level too,
Yeah,
right?
right. Put them out there, in short yardage, goal line positions as a extra tight end or a double tight, and or an unbalanced line, even kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Number 29 on our 2025 Top Buffs countdown is offensive lineman Philip Houston. You just talked about him, William, there. I had him 35th on my list. You had him 23rd. Coming back from a torn ACL, and that's the big question mark there. But it sounds that he's made a very quick recovery from this injury. Is going to be full go by the time they get to the season opener.
and he looks great. The only question is, with being out for that injury, what is he able to make enough progress from last year to be better this year? But he's a guy going into last year that I thought he can't play because he's too skinny, right? And he actually ended up being pretty damn good by the end of the year. He was a pretty solid. Well, he wasn't there at the end of the year because he got hurt. But by the time his last game he played, he was a pretty darn good right tackle. And now, just looking at him, you can tell he's significantly bigger. I think he's over 300, or don't think they list him at that, but he looks like it to me. And he moves well. He looks good. He's got the technique, and now he's got the power forward experience. And I would be shocked if he's not the starting right tackle, because I think he's really damn good.
Yeah, I think the thing you're looking for is a upward trajectory with a player, and he comes in from FIU as a transfer last year, and he was penalized 4 times in the first 2 games, but he was only penalized twice in those next 7 games before he got hurt. So I thought that was kind of an encouraging sign from him. 67.3 grade on Pro Football Focus, which was I think the Buffs best at that position last year in 11 games. So
Yeah, he's 6'5", 300. He's got the length and the athleticism both, which is what you need. And like what you talked about, those first couple of games where he struggled, it's because the speed is different, frankly,
yeah,
coming. Those outside guys here, you get used to setting it in a certain time frame because of the speed of the guys, and then you get up here, in the first couple of games, you're like, oh my God, what the hell? Now, granted, you've seen that in practice from our guys, but it's not the same as in games. And then, like you said, he got better the second game, and then by the third game, he was good, and settling in there, So that's what's going to give him the advantage of having that experience. And I just think he may be one of the most underrated players on the team, in my view.
yeah. Number 28 is defensive lineman Torian Carter II. William, look at us. I had him number 27. You had him number 28. That's about as close as we're going to agree on anything, it seems like. So that's good.
Yeah, and I think Torian Carter to me is he started the season as a starter last year and then got hurt and was missing most of the season. So he's certainly shown he can play, and he came from Arkansas, right? Is that correct? I think.
Correct.
And,
yep.
So he started out playing against SEC lines and came here and showed he was still ready to go. And so it's again hard to know how he'll come off of that injury, but early season last year he was doing great in there and earning that starting spot. So he's a guy that I think comes in and could push for maybe some starting snaps, and certainly is going to be a guy who, if he's a second team defensive tackle, he might be one of the best second team defensive tackles in the conference, because the kid can play, and he showed that last year. He's got the experience at this level. So I think he's exciting. Just goes to show, that he's down. We got him down here at like number 28, and shows you how deep our defensive line is.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And he's a 7th-year senior.
Yeah.
So we're starting to get far enough away from that whole COVID season to where you're not seeing as many of these crazy things. But then you've got this year with the JUCO ruling where Preston Hodge comes back, which is fantastic for the Buffaloes. But you're starting to kind of see some of these long college careers continue. But I don't know if we're going to see many seventh-year seniors going forward.
No, I think that's running out of its time, and he's another guy that he's massive and can move and got a lot of personality and kind of fun to see him in the weight room. But it also, dudes in general really don't start to get their most testosterone production and physical development until their mid-20s, and so that 7th year makes a big damn difference in terms of physical maturity and growth, so I think that's going to be a big deal for him. And he's another one that's going to be 305-ish, 6'3", 305. So he's got that low body, going to be getting a lot out from Warren Sapp and such. So I think that he's another one. Our second team defensive line may be the second best defensive line in the conference.
Last in this group on our top buffs countdown, at number 27, running back Dalin Taylor. I had him 32nd. William, you had him number 20. He was a two-time all-conference punt returner, a two-time all-conference kick returner, and a first-team all-conference running back during his time at the FCS level at Incarnate Word. He's originally from Texas. Again, you're kind of getting back to how does the jump up work? And I think we're kind of tired of that narrative, but he's got enough size. He's a short back for sure, but I wouldn't necessarily say that he's a scat back per se. No. I thought initially he was, but when you see him in the weight room, he's got some beef to him.
Yeah, he's got some thickness to him, and I think he's going to be the surprise on the whole team. I think he's literally the guy that most people are sleeping on. And I watched more of his film from last year, and this guy's got the moves, man. He's got the vision, he's got the shifty hips, he's got the ability to jump, cut, and change directions. And what was the kid in 2020 in the COVID year? Broussard, wasn't it?
Jarek Broussard, yes.
Who came out of nowhere. This guy's like him, and I think the Dalin Taylor's a 1,000-yard back. I think he's going to be a game changer and a guy that can go to distance on any given play. And I think he's the best running back on this team. And I think he's going to show that and then some. So I'm super excited about this kid.
Well, I think that would be huge for the program if that's the case, for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, and that depends. That depends a lot on the play calling, and what Shermer does with this offense. But I don't know. I think this is the kind of guy, and I think there's a reason why Falk brought this guy in. Marshall Falk is a 5'10" guy, and there's some he ended up being a 210 pounder, but he wasn't like that when he first started college. So I think there's a lot that Dalin Taylor brings to the table, and I think people are sleeping on this dude.
Do you see him returning both kicks and punts as well? I think Cam Michael is a good candidate to return kicks as well. We've got, Quentin Gibson is a pretty dynamic punt return option. You got some different options in those two groups.
Yeah, I mean, you got some different options. I mean, I don't know that anybody's going to ever return a kickoff anymore, but punt return for sure. It really comes down to first being able to catch the darn ball. So Hard maybe is a guy with the opportunity there, but certainly Dalin Taylor has done it at the college level and has the experience, and he's a guy you would look at to see who's going to give you the most at that position. It ends up, people always think, well, it's the most explosive guy. Well, it's the guy that catches the ball every damn time, frankly, first and foremost. You can't I don't give a damn what the guy can do once he catches it. if he's a risk to drop the ball back there, you can't put him back there.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. Well, that closes out this group. Good stuff, William. We're going to get back to it with our top buffs countdown, picking up at number 26 down to number 20. We got to keep moving through this list, William. It's not too far from camp. We got to keep churning these out.
Rocking and rolling. We're getting there.
All right. I appreciate you. And as always, I appreciate everybody out there for tuning in.